Without much more ado, first I'm going to introduce our mayor, Donald Trinks.
You don't need no microphones. I could hear you guys down there. We heard you before I saw you. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your support. I heard the other day, why would they come out and support a budget that you guys haven't passed yet? Well, first of all, I would give you my promise that we, the town council, will pass a responsible budget that we will be excited about, that will maintain the town services that we expect. We will present a budget that will not overburden the taxpayers, and we got services in this town that are second to none. We have a tax base second to none. We have enthusiastic citizens second to none. I'm telling you, I was having some 60s flashbacks watching you guys come down here. It was awesome. Look at you guys got our state reps here today, state senator. You got your mayor who didn't walk, but it was really because I had to work. I promise, I promise. So what I'm going to leave with you guys is do what you can to lobby our state legislators to pass a budget. No more what happened yesterday with political bickering and finger pointing. You don't see it here in town. We can spread that to the state level. These guys are out there working long, long, long hours, and they're coming up against a wall with these people that just don't want to get along and pass a budget. And they're putting politics before people, and that's wrong. There's 131 towns affected negatively by the governor's proposed budget. So I doubt out of 131 towns, anybody else has a march going on. So Windsor, first in state, first in service, first in marches. Thank you. Keep the fight going. We're gonna have a budget out there. We're gonna need the support again coming up when that comes out. And we're going to get this done, and we're going to be the model town in the state of Connecticut for how to get democracy in action and how to get the right thing done. Jane, thank you.
Thank you. And even though our town council is pretty good, it doesn't hurt to contact them to let them know also that we want to preserve our services and to look for creative options that they can find in there to lower the tax burden. With that, we're going to go over to Representative McGee. Would you like to say a few words?
So I want everybody to give it up for yourself, number one. Clap for yourself. And I know that sounds weird, but you know what? Nowadays, civic engagement is probably the most important element of the political process. And so having all of you here today means a lot. It means that you care about your town, you care about the children in this town and the services that the town provides. And so I'm excited to serve all of the people in Windsor, particularly the 5th Assembly District, in safeguarding, I love Windsor, but my 5th District. But I gotta start off by saying myself, along with all of my colleagues, we are fighting hard to ensure that the $3 million that's been projected in terms of reductions from your budget, we're trying to fight hard to safeguard those dollars. I know when Senator McCrory comes over, he'll share a little bit. Both he and I serve on the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding Committee. There are a lot of great things we'll be sharing on tomorrow, but I am not naive. We are in some very dire times here in the state of Connecticut. But one of the things I do know is we have to be fiscally responsible on how we spend our money, making sure our budget is not on the backs of working people, but we must ensure that the people in the town of Windsor stand out on the forefront. So I look forward to continued support, working alongside this guy here and the town council. And Jane, thank you so much for organizing. And just one last time, come on and make some more noise.
Thank you, Brandon. Windsor has been traditionally low in its increases. Over 10 years, there have been 0% increases. So we're already lean. To have a $3 million cut at this point would be devastating to our services. And people say, just cut staff. Well, when you're in a service organization, you cut staff, you're cutting services. And we can't afford it on the town side or on the school side. With that, I'll hand it over to Senator McCrory. Sorry, Senator. It's all the chanting. It's got me.
Jan, again, thanks for having
It's a whole group.
together.
It's a whole
You guys,
group.
thanks for coming out together. Unfortunately, I couldn't do the walk because I was still at the Capitol trying to negotiate with my colleagues on this budget. Like my colleague said, it's a tough job trying to bring people from the other side of the aisle together, understanding how important services are to towns like Windsor. I really going to do everything possible to make sure that $3 million is not cut out of the budget. One thing I can guarantee is the fact that teachers' retirement will not be put on the backs of you guys in local communities. That's not going to happen. That's completely out of the conversation. Putting taxes on nonprofits is completely out of the conversation. Those are great things. Those are things that working class people need. I know you love your town. I'm going to do the best to make sure that budget is responsible. But like was said, you guys have been doing a great job making sure your budget increases yearly are flat or just minimal. I know education is very important to you all. And I'm going to make sure if I have to find any dollar on any rock, I'm going to make sure it goes to education. Because I think that's the most important thing we have to cover in our community. Education and lower property taxes. So again, thanks for having me. I'll be here anytime you need me, Jan, Mr. Trinks, Mayor, anytime you need me, I will be here. I couldn't make it last night. They had another program because it was up there at the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding, trying to make sure that our finances in order. But whenever you need me, I will be here, and I'll make sure I'll represent you, just like I represent Bloomfield, and I'll represent North Hartford, okay? Thank you very much for having me. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Senator. And just to clarify, the group is out of the Windsor Democratic Town Committee, and it's called Preserve Windsor, but it is open to everyone. I'm not saying who, what, why, but we do have an independent. We have a Republican in our core group that meets. So it's everybody who loves Windsor. You don't have to be a Democrat to love Windsor. Right? And we just hope everyone steps up to the plate. I'm going to hand it over to Mary Beth. We do. I'm going to wait till the end. Yeah. Cristina Santos, our Board of Education President.
Well, this is a great crowd. Thank you for being here, and I want to really thank Brandon and Jeff for coming out tonight to join us here on the Town Green. Again, first in the state. This is really important. This may be the first rally of the year. I don't know. I wanted to actually just address, we are in some very difficult times, and I applaud the work of our representative and our senator to get through on a daily basis all of those tough conversations. We have had those tough conversations here in Windsor as well. And I can tell you that we, as a board, never really got into the fare of what everybody was feeling. And we said we need to take a look at our needs and what do our children need. And we worked very hard, started in November, right through our deliberations and our board vote, and we passed off to the town council a very fiscally responsible budget at a 1.23%, which is less than half if we just kept everything the same. And there are cuts, about $1.7 million already, but that 1.23% has to be sustained. It has to go through, because if there's any reduction to that, we will be hurting instruction. We will not meet the needs of our children. So I ask you to support the board budget, speak to the town council, and let them know we can cut no further, because we are as lean as you can believe it. Any additional cuts does mean instruction, it does mean bodies, and our children will lose. So I hope that you can, again, support, come out to the town council today at the meeting, email them, do what you need to do, but let's preserve the education budget as it stands. Better yet, let's fully support the budget for the entire town of Windsor, the EMS, the library, the schools, our community at large. I think we need to make sure everybody gets what we need to be who we are today. Thank you for coming out tonight. Tell them about the ratings. Oh, sure. I'll be announcing to the town council in about half an hour the overwhelming success that we have just received news. There is an organization called niche.com. You can Google. It's a very respectable organization. It rates communities. Windsor is rated the 31st community for best places to live in Connecticut with an overall rating of A. And that's where we are today, and that's what we want to preserve.
So everyone will have time for a little break. We hope you'll all go in, because when there's a lot of people, it shows council that we care. I do want to mention that tomorrow night there is a fundraiser at Bart's to raise money for Preserve Windsor for the challenges that we have ahead. It's a spaghetti dinner with, what kind of brownies are they, Willa? What are they? Mortal Sin brownie dessert. The cost is, the donation is $25 per person, and we hope that as many of you can make it. If you want to buy tickets, Will is the go-to person over here. Okay? Is there anyone else that would like to say something?
The more the better cycle.
No. Mary Beth. Yes. Mary Beth is a realtor in town, and she has a lot of information, or do you want to wait till we go inside? You wanted to say a few words, not through the whole thing? But it's interesting. Woo! It's interesting how when you lower taxes, when you lower services, when you don't fund your schools properly, how it affects our housing.
Yes. Hello.
Sorry for putting you on the
So I love statistics, and I love my town. And while showing properties in town, you know, there's always that little bit of, well, what is Granby? Those people in Granby, those people in Simsbury, all beautiful towns, but I would like to illustrate that the more we put back into the schools, increase our numbers and everything else, people will see Windsor for what it is, a wonderful town. I pulled some data over, 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath colonials from towns, and it's a better bargain to live in Windsor, but wouldn't it be nice if we can get as much as Granby and East Granby houses? So I think the more we give back to a town, people see that and want to live here. We do have a very strong market in Windsor. We're putting houses under deposit all the time. So there are people that believe and love Windsor. I just want to see more people, and I want to grow your home values by doing that. So, thank you.
Come on, Liz. Woo! I just want to add to that, since my sign talks about that. We want to make sure that we preserve Windsor so that we preserve our property values. Let's not be reckless. If we're reckless and we slash and cut too much, then we slash our property values too. I think that's very true. I just want to say that.
So when you're looking at how many lived through the cuts, what was it, 91? 95? It took us more than 10 years to get some of those services back or more. It just took an awful long time. And we have to think about that. So let's say our taxes go up $200, and I have no idea, we're just throwing numbers out there. What do you have to give up as a household to meet that? If I have kids in school, I'm gonna pay that for pay for play. Just for sports, I would meet those $200. Does it mean giving up a massage and a hairdo a year? What did we calculate it out to, John? What is it, $35 a month? You know, it's 35, so give up your lattes on Fridays. There's things that almost every household can do to preserve what we love about our town, right? So, a what? Oh, a question. I think what we're trying to do, and I can't speak for everybody, we're trying to be responsible. For the average homeowner, $1,000 was the question. That might not be something that everyone could do. If you're asking me personally, absolutely. Because I love this town, I love our schools, I love our services. What are we going to get rid of? Are we going to get rid of someone from social services and not meet the needs? Are we going to get rid of, Windsor has cut, again, we are 164th out of 169 towns in the lowest increases in the past 10 years. We have been fiscally responsible, but there comes a time where you have to do what you have to do. So depending what it is, we are telling council to look for creative ways to do it. And if you wish to talk, I'm not a press person. I'm not open to questions like the president or the press secretary. So if anyone wants to talk afterwards, I would be happy to.
Tell you, listening to these folks out here today, there's a great spirit of optimism about this. There's this great spirit of community that came out of this event tonight. Having had a chance to talk to our legislators who took time out of their schedule, which has got to be amazing this time of year and not in a good way, to come out and support this. I have a lot more faith that the right thing is going to be done out of the state, and then we can present a budget that's going to preserve Windsor services, preserve the education system here in town, take care of our seniors, take care of this public safety, and I think it's all going to come down to a very good thing. These folks are so charged up, they're going to go out and spread the good word about how Windsor can get this done.
And what's the date for the vote?
That's a great question. Thank you. Right now, we're holding off on when we're going to have the referendum or the adjourned town meeting, as it's called legally, until the state presents their budget, or at least till we have a better idea what to expect from the state, because we want to work on the best information possible. And the state, these guys are really, really working hard to try to get their leadership and their sides and everybody to work together to present it, because they know that it's a lot of towns are waiting for them.
Do you happen to know when the state will make their final decision?
How about we defer to...
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a final decision on when the official budget is coming out, although the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding will be voting on our package tomorrow, but we still have to wait for our Appropriations Committee to release that budget. And then we'll go into debating on a budget. So I assume we may even be in a special session, but who knows?
Well, typically our first weekend in June, we normally get our budget out, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen this year because of this fiscal situation that the state is in. But we will have something. I'm almost sure we'll have something by July 1st, when other towns have to have their budgets out. So I'm optimistic that we'll get something done.
Cautiously.
And Michael, I can tell your viewers that we on the Board of Ed, here we go, and the Town Council will do everything we can to get the word out, because it'll be an unusual time of year that we'll have this referendum. And we want, obviously, to be transparent about everything, and we want to get the most, voter participation. So we'll work hard to get the word out that the referendum is when it is happening.
And if for some reason the first time the referendum fails, what's next?
Well, we'll do what we've always done and try to mitigate the loss of services, whether it's through a combination of spending, creative spending or creative saving, or, the thing is that what people fail to realize is a town and a Board of Ed, we don't build anything. Everything we have are services. And if a body is lost to a budget cut, that's a service that's being eliminated, and chances are it won't come back. And we've been fighting very hard to push that point across, that, and when people say, oh, whatever you put out is going to be too high. Well, tell me where do you want to cut? Do you want to affect seniors? Do you want to affect students? Do you want to affect young people? Do you want to affect roads? Do you want to affect public safety? I mean, everything we do is a service, and a body is a service that can't get delivered.